I'm going to talk about the change which we are seeing in the world and what is the perspective with respect to change. So one interesting thing which you would have noticed is the more the world changes, the more it remains the same. So if the topic is the change we want to see in the world, everything which is changing has already changed. I've always been a great fan of storytelling, and this is a story from ancient Israel. And I want to use the story to illustrate what is changing in the world. Many years ago, there was a giant called Goliath, and he was fighting against the mighty kingdom of Israel. Now, Goliath was a massive man, and he used to tower above the citizens that time. Very well built. There was a 40-day war going on, and Goliath would stand daily and challenge the citizens. And he would ask the citizens, do you have what it takes to take me on? Right? Now, nobody took up the challenge for obvious reasons. The reasons were there is too much to lose. Goliath is very well built. He's taller, more powerful than any of us. David was a very small, common man from Israel. David was in debt. He was not doing well. The way David looked at it, he had nothing to lose. He said, I'm small. Goliath is big. I'm agile and nimble. Goliath is sturdy and well set. I have no credibility and I have nothing to lose. Goliath has a lot to lose. He went on with nothing more than 5 stones, and he took down Goliath. That was the birth of a startup. It was the birth of an agile, small unit taking on a big, established player. So do you really think the world is changing as much as we would like to believe it is? Change is immoral. Now, what is happening in today's world? Let's talk about the changes we are seeing. I actually call it the frictionless economy, and let me give you an example. Fast forward to 10 years back. When you rented a car, if you had to go from, say, IMI to Southex or Noida or Gurgaon, you would step out of IMI, you would frantically look around for a car. Half the autos or the car drivers would tell you they don't want to go there. Then somebody would agree and you would negotiate the price. Then you would get onto the car or auto and you would realize midway that the driver has no idea where they have to go. Or you would always have this sense of feeling that they are taking a longer route than they should be. When you would finally reach the place, you would get into a discussion on what is the right price and did they really overcharge you or are they charging a fair price. Then you would struggle to get a receipt. If you were working in a company and you had to file a claim, you would struggle to get a receipt. Sounds familiar? What did Uber do? All these points are points of friction. Stepping out of your college, hailing a cab is a point of friction. Finding someone who's willing to go is a point of friction. Getting into the cab and giving him directions and rolling down your windows and asking someone what is the right way to reach Gurgaon is a point of friction. When you get off, having the exact change to pay the auto wala is a point of friction. Various points of friction. All Uber did is it reduced all those points of friction. All you needed to now do is open the Uber app, look for a cab, order a cab, and sit in. You were not worried about the direction anymore because there was a map telling you the direction and the same map telling the driver a direction. You were not worried about negotiating a price because the price would automatically come. You were not worried about the receipt because the receipt would be mailed to you, right? Similarly, if you talk about hospitality and hoteling, Airbnb reduced the friction. So the largest change which the world is seeing today is the emergence of a frictionless economy. And the frictionless economy operates at many, many levels. Let's look at education. Most of you are business school graduates or are studying here currently. There are esteemed faculty here, guests from other colleges, and distinguished speakers. Whenever you buy a book, it usually happens that you end up reading only a portion of it. You really don't need the whole book. At times you need the first chapter, at times you need the last chapter. Do you think if there was a firm or an app which allowed you to buy sections of the book, and you could system integrate and create a book of your liking? First chapter from Kotler, second chapter from Drucker, third chapter from Michael Porter. Brilliant, right? That's the kind of change which we need in the world, where manufacturers, established brands, opinion leaders are not serving you an offering or a product which is the Model T. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Model T. Ford famously said you could have a car in any color as long as the car is black. So in the new frictionless economy, the players actually allow you to create a product or a service offering which could be black, but with different variations and colors and shades of black. Or it could be green, or it could be a combination of black and green. That's the change which the world is facing. Now, I have a lot of experience selling to large B2B organizations. What used to happen in a sales situation was you would go in and you would ask the customer. Imagine you are the chief marketing officer, or imagine you are the chief information officer, or the chief financial officer. You would be used to a lot of vendors and service providers calling upon you, trying to sell you stuff. They would either cold call you, or they would send you an email, or they would use someone else to get a meeting. And a usual question would be, what keeps you awake at night? What can I do to help you? Can we do something together? Is there a small project we can work on? And often as a chief exec, you had to take the meeting because the service provider or vendor either came down because of a connect they had with the board, or they met you at the golf course, and before you realized they are a vendor, they had already played a couple of rounds of golf with you. And it was very hard to say no for a meeting. Imagine the amount of answering the same question you had to do. You are meeting 4 vendors a day and everybody is asking you the same thing. What keeps you awake at night? What are the problems you are facing? How can I help you? Same questions, different vendors. This has given birth to the rise of social selling. What is social selling? Social selling is a platform, a concept which allows the Davids of the world to take on the Goliaths. It allows people like you to not sit for placements. It allows small, nimble startups to raise money. So social selling is one of the mechanisms in a frictionless economy which allows you to level the playing field and actually take on the Goliaths. What are the other mechanisms? One other mechanism is the rise of the citizen journalist. Today, on your phone, you have more computing power than a journalist had 10 years ago. 10 years ago, a journalist would go in with a OB van, would have a typewriter, very few would have a runner to carry the news back. Today, on your phone with a video capability, with Twitter on, all of you collectively have more clout and power and ability to break a news than any established journalist. Right? Any dream you have, the topic for today is changing the world. Any dream you have, if you can pivot that dream on a frictionless economy. Maybe you wanted to be a chef, but your parents asked you to attend a business school. Maybe you wanted to be a social activist, and your boyfriend or girlfriend thought it's better to get a business education. Maybe your bucket list was to actually travel the world while you are actually spending 2 years sitting in a business school and not really traveling, other than going between the hostel and classroom. Think about the concept of a frictionless economy and how can you leverage the power of social and not only social media to bring your dreams to life. That's it.